Hello, lovely listener. It has come to my attention that while an older, more mature audience follows me elsewhere online, given my professional work involves more mature content, my YouTube followers are of a much wider age range. Now, in my humble opinion, this episode is, let's say, rated PG-13. The song's story is not explicit, but the lyrics in this song are a little more mature than other songs I've looked at thus far. So, just wanted to give a fair warning to my younger and more sensitive viewers. Bear in mind, the lyrics of this song deal with adult matters, but again, not in an explicit way, more in a playful way. With that being said, welcome to another episode of ASMR Sea Shanties and Folk Songs. For anyone who watches this series from the beginning, you'll notice I expanded the name of the series, as some episode songs aren't exactly shanties, but this one is, and in media it's been a rather popular one as well. This week, we're taking a look at the Maid of Amsterdam, also known as A-Roving. The first couple stanzas are recorded in W.B. Wall's Ships, Sea Songs, and Shanties, first published in 1910. In this collection, it is listed as A-Roving, and only the first 3 stanzas are recorded, followed by the book just saying etc. for the remaining lyrics. I assume this must have been due to how popular of a song it was, and perhaps in light of that, many variations of it existed. Wall didn't seem too bothered to record the song in its entirety compared to other shanties in his book. While this is one of the earliest recordings of the song in writing, research for this episode pulled up the claim that the shanty was popularized in a 1608 London play by Thomas Hayward, titled The Rape of Lucrece. Now, some follow-up research on that claim shows that there is a song in the play that very heavily derived from the shanty, but I think it took inspiration from the shanty as it was likely popular at the time, but it's not the shanty itself. Here are the lyrics between a clown character and his fellow actors on stage, and they heavily pull from the narrative and lyrics of The Maid of Amsterdam, referencing being flirtatious with a lady, moving from the knee to the thigh, etc. I would argue you can't say they sang the shanty in the play, but they certainly sang a song that heavily resembled the shanty, almost like a drunken group of friends trying to remember a song together. So it's not the best primary source for the song, nor its lyrics. From my research for this episode, it seems the preservation of this song has relied heavily on oral tradition, with a smattering of written sources, like Wall recording the first 3 stanzas for us. In more recent media, the song has been featured in the 1956 movie production of Moby Dick.
Since I've been my rowing, I'll go no more a-rowing with you, fair maid. Her cheeks were red, her eyes were brown, well, what I do say. Her cheeks were red, her eyes were brown, her curly hair was hanging down. I'll go no more a-rowing with you, fair maid.
I quite liked some of these lyrics and included some of them in the song at the end.
For a great big Dutchman rammed my bow and said, "Young man, dies is mein Frau."
Alternate lyrics are heard in the rendition for the 2013 video game Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Now, some versions of the shanty imply that the sailor is messing around with someone's wife, perhaps unknowingly. Other versions seem to imply a sailor is simply enjoying an evening with the lady of the night, and I prefer this latter interpretation. Admittedly, I have a lot of respect for sex workers, and I think there's something charming about a song celebrating a night with a lady and pining over her, given how comforting of a night it was. One can argue there's a moral to the rendition, implying the sailor is hitting on someone's wife, as the final stanzas involve the husband showing up and the sailor warning the rest of the crew not to hit on someone else's spouse. But I compiled the lyrics that read more like a love letter to a lady of the night. It's a mishmash of lyrics from the Moby Dick version of the song, W.B. Wall's text, and recordings I've taken a listen to, namely the 2015 recording by the British folk band, the Roaring Tromen. Now, before I look at the lyrics and sing the song for you, a disclaimer. I ever so slightly changed the notes of the song to match the key I played my guitar in. Many listeners probably won't notice, but I notice, and it ever so slightly bothered me that the key I played in changed the notes of the song. But it was such a fun key to sing in, I decided I would accept the compromise. But here's where the change will take place. In the second to last lines of stanzas, as well as in the line, "A-Roving's been my rue-I-in." The original notes for the end of the line, from rue-I-in to I'll go, fall down and then back up a scale, like so. "A-Roving's been my rue-I-in, I'll go." But in the key that I play, rather than the notes fall down a scale, the last note changes to a flat, and I'll go starts on that flat note, like so. "A-Roving's been my rue-I-in, I'll go." So, once more, back to back, that's "A-Roving's been my rue-I-in, I'll go. A-Roving's been my rue-I-in, I'll go." It's subtle. Most viewers probably wouldn't have noticed, but I feel obligated to share that I altered the tune ever so slightly in this rendition. And with that said, let's take a look at the lyrics. Now, Lady of the Night isn't in the lyrics, but I mentioned it earlier, and I realize some viewers might not know what that means. Again, I like the version we'll sing, which implies a nice evening with a lady of the night, which is a nicer term for a prostitute or sex worker. Mark. The refrain repeats, "Mark well what I do say." Mark as in, take note, listen here, mark this down. It's essentially telling the rest of the crew and those listening to listen and take note. Roving. Rambling, traveling around, not restricted to any particular location. In the context of the song, the lyrics often describe the sailor and lady as roving through town, going on a walk, sometimes going to a park. Abode, a home or residence. Free. While free is a common enough word, it's not often that I see it used in the context the song uses it. The maid teases the lead singer for being rather free when he becomes more touchy-feely, meaning he's not holding back, he's being free and open with his intentions. Funny enough, just a few stanzas later, free is again used in a similar context, when the maid is described as spending her money fast and free, without hesitation. Fancy-free. Towards the end of the song, the maid is called fancy-free, meaning free from romantic or sentimental attachment. Funny enough, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the earliest known usage of the term fancy-free was in 1590, just a few years prior to the song being popularized in that Rape of Lucrece stage play mentioned earlier, from 1608. And according to scholars, some suspect the Maid of Amsterdam shanty comes from the Elizabethan era, which lasted from 1558 to 1603. Now, it could be coincidence, but I can't help but look at those years and wonder if this shanty coined the very term fancy-free. Some food for thought. And now, please humor me as I sing this song with a couple gal pals of mine. Funny enough, I have more gal pals to sing with at present compared to guy friends, but I think that adds a fun twist to some of these songs. So without further ado, here is The Maid of Amsterdam, sung alongside Sneha Kumar and Turtle Love Audios. In Amsterdam there lived a maid,
Mark well what I do say.
In Amsterdam there lived a maid, and she was mistress of her trade.
I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids. A-roving, since roving's been my ruin. I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids.
One night I crept from my abode,
Mark well what I do say.
One night I crept from my abode to meet this fair maid down the road.
I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids. A-roving, since roving's been my ruin. I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids.
Her cheeks were red, her eyes were brown.
Mark well what I do say.
Her cheeks were red, her eyes were brown, her curly hair was hanging down.
I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids. A-roving, since roving's been my ruin. I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids.
I asked this maid to take a walk.
Mark well what I do say.
I asked this maid out for a walk, that we might have some private talk.
I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids. A-roving, since roving's been my ruin. I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids.
I took that maid upon my knee.
Mark well what I do say.
I took that maid upon my knee. Says she, young man, you're rather free.
I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids. A-roving, since roving's been my ruin. I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids.
I put my hand upon her thigh.
Mark well what I do say.
I put my hand upon her thigh. Says she, young man, that's rather high.
I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids. A-roving, since roving's been my ruin. I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids.
I put my hand yet higher still.
Mark well what I do say.
I put my hand yet higher still. Says she, young man, that's quite a thrill.
I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids. A-roving, since roving's been my ruin. I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids.
She swore that she'd be true to me.
Mark well what I do say.
She swore that she'd be true to me, but spent my money rather free.
I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids. A-roving, since roving's been my ruin. I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids.
Now this young maid was fancy free.
Mark well what I do say.
Now this young maid was fancy free. If I could take her home with me,
I'll go no more a-roving with you, fair maids. A-roving, since roving's been my ruin.